Bedwars has a lot of maps you can choose from. 18 different maps if you play duos. Today, Dane and I want to see if we can beat all 18 maps in one session. So sit back and enjoy as I walk you through our journey to complete this insanely hard challenge. Our journey started with the map Citadel. At first, things were going well. We eliminated our side rush pretty quickly, and the next team we rushed dropped diamonds and emeralds when they died, which Dane stored in the ender chest. We were able to use the loot to max our team generator, which would have been a massive advantage if not for a sweat team to rush us and hit one of the most legit clutches I've ever seen of all time. Then they broke our bed and killed us. So a really good game ended by a couple of sweats being pretty legit. Our second game was on the map Whirlwood, and we had a few snipers, but we wouldn't let that stop us from getting our first win. Ignore that. Here comes the fight of the century, and Dane takes them out. Would we be able to take out our corner rush? No, we lost that pretty badly. One respawn later, followed by the best defense of all time. We were able to buy swords and die again. This is going great. Now you might be wondering, Fair, why did you buy blocks? It was so I could get the goofiest ninja defused bed break of all time. Totally planned. And we eventually get the job done. Then I earned the Teammate of the Century award by leaving Dane to take on the yellow team all by himself. Fast forward later in the game, and I literally walk past two blind children to buy a pickaxe and break their bed. After the Battle of the Ages, I come out on top, and the other gray team member found themselves in a little bit of a pickle. Dane and I regroup and take out blue team, then head over to orange base, where we break orange bed and take one of them out. And I'll let this next part speak for itself. Wow, sheesh, dude, he's lagging, and he is spamming. Get off! Oh, no, I saved him! No, die, thank you.
There we go.
How many M's was that? 4 M's. Let's take that.
Nice. Oh, the blue's still at his base.
Really?
Yeah, they're just sitting there, yeah.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna do a little goofy strat real quick.
Oh, he's building up.
No way! That was the perfect pearl! That was amazing!
That pearl was insane.
Let's go!
There we go.
A pretty good way to get our first win in our challenge, but it's far from over. For our third game, we returned to Citadel, and right after we dealt with our side rush, people already started targeting us. Dane and I worked together to rob a green player, but gray team tried sneaking into our base. I managed to knock one off, but the other got into our island, stole our loot, and bought chain armor. A little annoying, but Dane and I are able to take care of them. We boost the generator, and gray team comes back with better loot, but we still hold them off, eventually taking them out. Orange team would try troubling us, but failed. Later, we would head over to Gray Base, where Dane decided to give the Void a hug, and I would be able to break their bed. Back at base, and Gray wants revenge. One of them decides to launch themselves towards our bed in an attempt to break it, which I body block just in time. Gray team decides to run, and the wild duck chase is on for a while, but eventually I'm able to knock them off, removing our biggest threat from the game. Also, the other Gray decided to hug the Void too. Later in the game, green team has diamond armor and a thick bed defense, but one quick fireball gets me an easy bed break. Now we just have to focus on eliminating these two full diamond armor goofballs. I fireball a massive hole for the first one to fall into, and we 2v1 the second guy and knock him into the void. Then Dane tries the smartest strategy I have ever seen in a Bedwars game, and I'm left wondering how many brain cells he has. I steal green team's diamond armor and wear it just in time to respawn. But look at how close I was to being eliminated. The second I respawned, orange team broke our bed. We waited till sudden death to fight orange team, and we were going in stacked with loot. We went in on an orange, and he spams knockback dories until he knocks my teammate off. And once again, I'm left to wonder how many brain cells he has. The first orange I fight runs out of dories and goes down pretty easily. We eat a golden apple before going in on the last player, and we're able to knock them into the void to win the game. A good way to get ourselves our second win of the day. The next map we play is Ablaze, and we had 7 snipers, the biggest number of snipers we'd have so far. But Dane and I were going into this game to win. Our side rush was no issue, and we headed to middle to get some emeralds, where I would run into a sniper trying to steal my emeralds. I managed to escape to base and eventually take them out, gaining some good loot, and we would be able to max our generator pretty early early in the game. Later, Aqua Team decides to launch themselves in the air to get to our bed, and failed spectacularly. Fast forward and we would final kill Blue Team, who was threatening to get diamond armor. We then decide to rush Aqua Team, and I win the Teammate of All Time award by letting Aqua kill my teammate while I get the bed. Then I knocked one of them off and decided to hug the Void. You know, the Void just gets too lonely. I had to give it a hug. Now a diamond armor dude, who just had 2 men destroy his bed, is on the loose. Dane and I decide to do the derpiest diamond armor split I have ever seen, and chase after the final Aqua Team member, who really likes launching themselves with wind charges. I try eliminating them and decide to hug the Void again. The Void's feeling very lonely today, guys. Dane clearly thought so as well, and went in for a group hug. We later find a blue gathering emeralds and eradicate him, which left one last player to deal with. The final Aqua would be able to break our bed with the 2-ball combo. My attempt to knock him off fails, I get knocked off, and I try desperately to pearl clutch but somehow fail, and now it's up to Dane. Somehow Aqua falls off but pearl clutches. Dane would stock up on resources and chase after them. A fight to the death would break out, with Aqua using a totem of fire to their advantage, but it wouldn't be enough as Aqua gets knocked off and eventually hugs the Void. Wow, that's like 5 whole hugs the Void got this game. Game 5 would be on the map Cityscape. I managed to kill Yellow Team and break their bed, only to die and have Dane clean up. We collect some emeralds, head back to base, and eventually we max our generator. Over at Gray base, Blue breaks Gray's bed and starts the goofiest game of Ring Around the Rosie I have ever seen, until my teammate shows up and eliminates them both. Meanwhile, I'm chasing Orange Team and eventually rob one of them. Dane was able to quickly take out Magenta's bed, but was unable to eliminate either of them. I then go hunt down the last of Orange Team, beautifully named Mr. Poop. Mr. Poop gets a combo on me and I retreat temporarily. Mr. Poop then bow spams me while I hit him with a fireball. A few more hits and he runs, but we're able to take him out. Elsewhere, Dane sends a Magenta to give the Void a hug, giving us our 4th win of the challenge. Now we're on the map Belfry, and I catch the most unnecessary, accidental, career-ending insult I have ever seen in my life. The most diabolical, malicious conversation I have ever been the topic of. After crying myself to sleep, I take out Yellow's bed and Dane takes them out. We head to middle and rob 2 children, then head to base and boost generator. Later on, we would rush Magenta Team and eventually murder them and break their bed. Then Dane shows up to steal the kills. Fast forward and Dane does a good job of getting Orange Team low enough for myself to show up and blow them up. The final team has a player in full diamond armor, but apparently that didn't matter as I combo him and send him to give the Void a hug. We get some diamond armor, then I would try the goofiest 2v1 and somehow survive, and be able to fireball their bed defense, throw the worst pearl mankind has ever seen, and then come back to finish the job. Blue Team seems helpless until I pull off the greatest Mr. President moment of all time, somehow saving this man from hugging the Void. And I'm sure Dane's left wondering how many brain cells I have. We win that game shortly after and move on to gates. We eliminate our side rush, and I'm being extra for absolutely no reason. We head to middle and Gray is able to get away with the emeralds. We notice Green Team going for our bed and chase after them. Then Dane decides to hug the Void. It's alright though, because I'm able to take out Green pretty easily. Soon I'd get iron armor and make the world's largest bed defense. Dane would take out Green Team for good. Gray would make Orange Team hug the Void, and it was Dane and I against one sniper. I thought it would be a pretty easy win until they pulled out the Ultra Instinct to dodge my fireball. They managed to get to their base where we would be able to corner them and knock them off, and they get sent to hug the Void. We move on to the map Wicked Woods. Our side rush was a lonely child, so we bullied them into hugging the Void. We rush Magenta Team and are able to get their bed, and eventually finish them off. Dane waltzes into Red's base, stabs 2 children and breaks their bed, and eventually take them out. One of them decides to hug the Void themselves. We head over to Orange base, who try their best to stop us, but we eventually take one out. The other decides to hug the Void, then I manage to block in on Aqua Team's defense, get their bed, and escape. Dane puts enough in the ender chest for me to get diamond armor, and we work together to take one out, forcing the other into the Void to get us our 7th win. Then we move on to Oasis. Our side rush was easy, and the Void would get 3 hugs here. We would max generator, get armor, take out a Magenta, and eventually eventually break their bed. Magenta escape because of some snipers who target me and stab me. We decide to rush blue base, and one awkward fireball later, followed by an awkward block in, we do finally get the bed. Dane eliminates one of them, and the other tries to run, but we send him to the Shadow Realm. Dane tries solo rushing Aqua Base, but is sent to hug the void. It's all up to me, one last team to defeat. I stock up on resources, drink a speed potion, and head over to Aqua Base. One Aqua hugs the void, while the other almost gets me with a fireball. They dory spam, but we survive and take them out. The fireball doesn't open up their bed that much, but we manage to squeeze into their bed and break it. I'd eventually be able to catch up with them, stab one, and send the other to hug the void. Our next map would be Fairy Garden. This game's side rush doesn't put much of a fight up, although one player tried escaping to our base, but we make him hug the void. We head to middle and grab all the emeralds, max our generator, and get iron armor. I would rush blue base, break into the goofiest bed defense I've ever seen, and take them out. Dane would then speedrun taking out gray team, and green team would be our final obstacle this game. And a quick ball gets us a quick bed break. Green team would survive my fireball and get to running. We noticed the void looking pretty lonely and gave the void a synchronized hug, and got back to base in time to defend our bed. Another void hug later, and Dane would be able to scare them off. Green would get more resources, bridge around the map to our base, and break our bed. Meanwhile, Dane and I are absolutely harassing the other green team member, and we eventually take them out. We get alerted to the other green team member's location, and chase after them only to see them do the most complicated void hug I've ever seen, giving us our 9th win of the challenge. We go to the map Amulet. Somehow Dane just waltzes into our side rush's bed and breaks it. I'm able to finish one off. The final yellow stabs me, decides he can't take it anymore, and he needs a hug. We head to middle, where there's a lot of emeralds to gather. Then we head back to base and hug the void. Meanwhile, Dane steals blue base's loot, buys iron armor, and breaks their bed. Dane and I regroup and chase after a group of people. Dane fireballs their bridge and sends green to hug the void, but green takes blue team with them for a group hug. Dane and I would knock the final blue off, and his pearl would save him from a void hug, but he would die to fall damage. And that's our 10th win of the challenge. Then we'd move on to the map Stranded. Our side rush would leave this game, Dane hugs the void, and I would get to mid, where for some reason, everyone takes turns fighting me. I win all 3 fights and gather a lot of emeralds at the same time. We maxed the generator and took out a magenta player and stole their emeralds. I rushed gray team next, broke their bed, and eventually took them out. Dane robs a child, takes out magenta's bed, he tries to stab them, fails, waits for me to arrive, and we take them out together, giving us our 11th win of the challenge. For the next map, we head over to Orangewood. Our side rush only had 1 player on it, so that was pretty easy. We were able to get a quick max generator. I would then chase after red team, who didn't have a bed, eliminated them both, and gained a whole bunch of loot. I waste no time and head over to magenta base, sending the whole team to hug the void, and getting their bed. One of them cuddled the void, and the final magenta would escape towards blue base, but they couldn't escape the void hug. Dane would get diamond armor. We meet one member of the final team at middle, and save him from a void hug. The final orange would get some diamond armor, and Dane would test them in battle. Orange would escape, while my pearl sells hard. Orange would go to our base and get our bed, only to get sent into the void for a hug, giving us our 12th win of the challenge. Next up is Enigma. We managed to deal with our side rush quickly, and I successfully rob a child. Then I rush gray base, walk past a blind child, break his bed, and then his neck. Went from wearing nothing to having the best armor in the game. Later, the last gray is in for a surprise, as they see 2 men chasing them and decides to hug the void. We then rush the last team left, and a fireball throw gets me a quick bed break, and we group hug the void. That's 13 out of 18 maps done. Next up is Fairy Tale Forest. We have a bit of trouble with our side rush, but eventually we break their bed, and one of them decides to hug the void. We have a close call with our bed, but Dane is there to clean up. Elsewhere, Lime Team's bed gets destroyed, and they both decide to embrace the void. Dane rushes Magenta base, takes one out, breaks their bed, and can eliminate Magenta Team on his own. Orange without a bed decides to rush our base, but Dane and I are able to stop him, and Orange, knowing there's no escape for them, decides to yeet themselves into the void. Dane somehow has enough money to get us both diamond armor. He probably robbed a bank. Then we found a blue getting emeralds, which we did not take too kindly. We rush the final team as I block in. One blue tries going for our base, so Dane voids. I break bed and try taking out the blues on my own, but I fail and I have to pearl away. Dane joins the fight and we manage to corner them on an island, but I manage to throw the world's best ender pearl and squeeze the heck out of the void. Now the two blues are together and pick up some emeralds, where they get to a shop and buy diamond armor. But I'm able to fireball a bridge to force one blue to hug the void. The other blue runs and my attempts to dory him fails. Over and over and over again. Both team gets resources and stocks up on items. But when it's time to fight, we have the advantage. I manage to combo and dory them into the void, but they clutch and I continue the pressure. I place a fire totem to counter their life totem and we take them out. A little shaky, but eventually we get the job done to get us our 14th win. Into our next game, and I'm already fisting someone. Our side rush decides to hug the void, and I soon follow. Dane joins me to make that 4 whole people to hug the void in the first minute of the game. Just like your average game of rock, paper, scissors, wool beats sword. And I manage to break their bed and eventually take them out. After getting emeralds, I get chased back to base, and while I max our generator, Gray Team decides to start cranking 90s. Unfortunately for this guy, I also played Fortnite that one time. Later, I upgrade to Diamond. Dane, chasing a Gray from middle, manages to force them into the void and decides to join them soon after. Later, we catch a close call with Yellow Team fireballing our bed, but I send them to the void. I would then rush Yellow base with a fireball of my own, but I think it's bugged out, guys, because it definitely wasn't user error. Gray would sneak into our base and eventually break our bed, and Dane, having just respawned, somehow makes the great escape, running over to Gray base, robbing them, buying diamond armor, and everything he could need. At the same time, I rush Yellow, my fireball breaks a total of 2 blocks, sends my opponent back 2 blocks, and sends me to Narnia. So I send him to hug the void the old-fashioned way, and break the bed in time for my opponent to die to the void. As I go to mid, Gray Team is waiting for me, and we get into a fight. I use a fire totem, they tried a golden apple, but we knock them towards our fire totem to cancel out their regeneration. They try to run, but we use our fireball and take them out. The last Yellow decides to try avenging their fallen comrade. Dane helps me escape, and we later try dorying them into the void. They would panic pearl, making them quite low as they run. They would pearl away to avoid me, but they wouldn't be able to run forever, giving us our 15th win. We move on to Vineyard. Our side rush was no issue. We broke their bed, took them out, headed to mid, got some emeralds, boosted generator, and got some iron armor. I rush to orange base, take out an orange with no loot, break their bed, and escape. Meanwhile, Gray Team rushes our base, fights Dane off, and breaks our bed. Dane and I regroup, head to Gray base, but Dane doesn't make it, leaving it all up to me. If we wanted to win this game, I would have to clutch up hard. Gray respawns at their base, orange breaks their bed, as we final kill one Gray. We were able to get back to base, gather some resources, and get diamond armor. Exactly what I would need to clutch this game. I aggro a green to steal their loot. I go after orange, who doesn't have a bed and tries to escape, but I'm close behind and they blow themselves up. Green Team jumps me while I'm in the shop, but I place 2 totems down and I'm able to fend them off. I then go for a fireball pearl strat to take out Green's bed. It's time to fight, and my Totem of Burning does a good job helping me lower their health, and I'm able to outlast them, completing the clutch and giving us our 16th win. Next up is Atlantis. We managed to kill our side rush, break their bed, make one hug the void, and stick a sword up the other one's butt. Dane and I gather emeralds, boost our generator, I experience the best ping ever, we chase after an orange who hugs the void, fireball their bed, and eventually break it. Then we would send both oranges to hug the void. Dane tries a smart pearl from middle to get to magenta base, sends them to the void, and I would hold green team off while Dane gets their bed. I would final kill one green while Dane knocked the other into the void, giving us our 17th win. That leaves us with one final map to complete. farmhouse. And let's just say we completed it relatively quickly. Attempt after attempt, death after death, we kept going and we kept dying until we got this attempt with 6 snipers after an hour and a half straight of farmhouse. Our side rush was a quick and easy team wipe. We put some deep slate over our bed, go to mid, grab some emeralds, rob a child, and instead of maxing our generator, I opt to go for strike it lucky, which allows us to generate emeralds at our own base once in a while. I head to middle and find some Aqua team members with no bed and eliminate one. Dane and I would work together to send the other to hug the void. Later, Dane would sandwich a sniper between another team and final kill them. Meanwhile, I'd be able to max our generator. Looking good so far. Dane would find a yellow with no bed at middle, and they would decide to hug the void. Orange would try fighting me, but I ignore them, fireball their defense, break their bed, rob them, and buy diamond armor. I go after the final orange, who starts running after taking serious damage, only for a red to force them to hug the void. And that same red would offer the same thing to Dane. I would then start absolutely comboing them, but I clearly felt bad for Dane and decided to join him. Dane would sneak past red team to fireball their bed and would do a good job of roughing them up, but would get taken out. I would be able to follow up and take red team out for good, leaving one final team left. Dane would try to pearl into their base sneakily, but both blues would notice and harass him until he was forced to run. My goofy butt thought they didn't have a bed, and yeah, you don't even have to wonder how many brain cells I have. The answer is none. I have no brain cells. Meanwhile, blue might have even less brain cells, because they tried to fireball their own bed defense. How do you even exist with negative brain cells? But Dane gets taken out, and we have to try again. How are we not breaking people's beds when they are literally fireballing their own bed defense? We might be the worst Bedwars duo of all time. We would try the Jet Pearl strat to sneak into their bed, and it worked. But for some reason, I decide to fireball a defense I was already inside. Thankfully, I do get the bed, and I'm able to make a quick escape. I place down some totems, which help me heal and knock a blue off. The final blue decides to wave fire totems at me as I send us into the void for one final group hug, giving us our final win and completing the challenge.